Tree houses. Today, we will use shapes, lines, and colors we all know in our art so we can practice creating magical tree houses. What is a magical tree house? I want you to think about if you could imagine the coolest or most magical tree house you have ever thought of. Kind of like something you would see in a Disney movie or a storybook, with lots of special features, maybe things that you wouldn't even normally see in real life. If you could create a treehouse that is the most magnificent you could ever think of in your imagination, what would it be like? What could you add to it? What kinds of special things would make your treehouse uniquely yours? Here are some examples of real life amazing treehouses. These are tree houses that people have built from their imagination using actual wood and building supplies. Some tree houses you can actually stay in too, like a hotel room. These are pretty cool, almost as big enough to live in. So we'll be thinking about shapes as we start. What kinds of shapes will you use to build your tree house? Think about geometric shapes like rectangles, squares, triangles, circles, ovals, trapezoids, all those shapes that people use to build with. Can you see what geometric shapes these two pictures have in them? I see lots of rectangles, triangles, and squares. And here are some examples of student artwork. These are pictures actually created by art students who were challenged to draw a special treehouse just like you. Maybe they can give you some ideas. Can you imagine having a treehouse with a cookie stairway leading up to the tree? That would be pretty cool. That treehouse also has a swimming pool next to it. Wow, that must take a lot of imagination to come up with that idea. Now here's a video to help us get started. Today I'm going to show you how to draw and color the treehouse. But if you run out of time to finish coloring it, you can always finish coloring it on a different day as well.
Okay, friends, we are going to get started on drawing our magical tree houses today. We're going to start again with a white sheet of paper. Hopefully you have one that doesn't have any lines on it. We're going to need a pencil to start with, and then crayons are going to be great for this today. You can also use marker or colored pencil if you need to. So we're going to get started by going right to the center of our paper, and we're going to start making our tree house using different geometric shapes. So think about all those geometric shapes that you know and love to use, like rectangles and triangles and circles and squares and diamond or rhombus shape or hexagon or pentagon or octagon. And we're going to stack those shapes one on top of each other to make it look like an interesting treehouse. Kind of think about like if you were at home building wood blocks. So if you ever used wood blocks to make like a castle or a tower or just a fun looking house, and you stack those blocks on top of each other and the geometric shapes really fit together nicely, that's what geometric shapes are really good at. I'm going to kind of make mine look like a castle by putting two half circles on top and a triangle on top for the roof of my tree house. But you don't have to do that. Yours can look totally different than mine. You can use your imagination. Once you have your shapes that you like stacked on top of each other, you can think about some of the other details. Like, do I want to add something to the roof of my tree house, like a chimney? I'm going to add a little flag because I kind of wanted mine to look a little bit like a castle. So I thought it would be fun to do this. put little flags on the top. Think about, okay, what are the windows gonna look like? Do I want my windows to be circles? Do I want my windows to be squares? Do I want my windows to have a curved line on top or a straight line on top? Use your imagination. I think I'm going to put a fun triangle window over here on this side, and circle windows over here, and maybe a square window over here. And then, what about my door? I need a way to get in the treehouse. Since I'm trying to make mine kind of look like a castle, I'm going to make an arch doorway just like a castle would have, with a divider down the middle, because I think that would look fun. And I can draw the curved arch over top of it. That looks pretty cool. And then add some more detail, maybe to even make it look a little bit more castle-y. Another window over here, just like this. So have a lot of fun adding the details on your treehouse. And remember, yours can look totally different than mine. You could think of different ideas, like what if I wanted to make a Pokemon treehouse, or what if I wanted my treehouse to look like a spider, or what if I wanted my treehouse to look like a funny emoji face. All those things are really cool. Ready to start thinking about the tree. Now the tree needs to grow up around the treehouse. So I want you just to take your pencil and lightly draw the shape of a Y right underneath your treehouse, just like this. And we're going to turn that into a tree in just a second here. Now, after I do that, I'm going to take out my brown crayon, and I am going to thicken this up. I'm going to color this in to make it look like a tree trunk, and I need it to be nice and thick. It does not have to go all the way down to the bottom of your paper. You can stop. And I'm going to do the same thing on each side of my Y shape, right here, going right over top of that line, thickening that up to really make it look like a tree. Now it's starting to look like a tree, but not quite yet, because I kind of need to take my crayon and draw the edge to smooth it out, and that will curve it to make it look like a tree. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. Draw the edge of it and curve it to make it look like a tree. I might also want to put like a little wood platform underneath my castle tree house so it doesn't look like it's going to fall right there. Now, this would be too short if I left my tree like this, so I'm going to make my tree grow up higher. And the way that I do that is by breaking each one of those big branches into two separate branches. And you can go ahead and do this with your crayon. Now, boys and girls, remember, if you do not remember how to do these steps, it's okay to rewind the video or pause it and come back and watch it again to see how I'm doing my branches here. It's really just in the shape of the letter Y. And I'm making them nice and long too. I'm not just going like this, because that would be too small and too skinny. So I make them nice and thick with my brown crayon, nice and long, and I'm going to keep adding those Y-shaped branches on each side. Go over here, break it into two, make it look like a letter Y. Do the same thing again over here, and you see my tree is growing and growing and growing. Every time I make a nice big Y shape, at the end it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And you want to make sure you make those branches thick enough so your tree doesn't break and fall over in a windstorm. Now that tree house, if I really want to make it look stand out and make it look cool, I could use a black marker or colored markers to outline to make it stand out more. And since mine is supposed to look like a castle, I'm going to start with a black marker and go ahead and just carefully outline the parts before I add some color marker detail. The little lines in the windows, the crisscross lines in the windows to give it more detail. all of those things you do will make it more interesting to look at. And just using your imagination, don't color your treehouse all one color. Use your markers and your crayons to really make it look very interesting to look at. I'm going to do some diagonal lines on this part of my treehouse just for fun. Now it doesn't really look like a regular castle, it looks like a castle made out of candy. Okay, so after you're done adding all those details on your castle and making your tree, you can start to think about what time of day it is or what season even. Like I could leave no leaves on it and have it be winter outside with snow on the ground. Or I could still have it be fall and I could use my marker and my crayon to add really pretty fall leaves in my tree. Or if it were springtime, I could use my green marker to make big oval green shapes to make green leaves in my tree. And then down here on the ground, we always try to separate the sky from the ground by drawing what's called a horizon line. So if you remember doing that from before, you can add that because that'll show whoever's looking at it. Okay, as you can see, I am just finishing up my last little details. I colored my sky with blue and violet and added lots of green in my grass. And right now, I am making my way to get up into the treehouse using my black marker. So you don't want to forget to do that. Think about, how am I going to get up to my treehouse? Do I want to make a ladder? Do I want to make some stairs or steps? Is there a magical way to get into the treehouse? I also decided to draw a little rope bridge. I'm going to add some brown to this to make it look more like a bridge, going over into my treehouse, and then maybe even something really fun like a tire swing. So adding like a little rope going down and some type of a swing to swing on underneath your treehouse, using the shape of the letter O, and then making the center for it. And then you could find either a gray marker or a gray crayon and color in your tire. It's just that simple. Adding all those little extra details, coloring it and making it look special so that it looks like a really fun place to go visit. I hope you have fun finishing your magical tree houses today, boys and girls. See you later. Bye-bye.